This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, my name is Paige Cargioli. My business is Open Heart Holistic Therapy, and I am an EPT practitioner. EPT stands for Emotional Polarity Technique, which is a totally different approach in emotional health care. Instead of relying on traditional talk therapy or medication, EPT relies on the science of forgiveness to help both children and adults resolve whatever unresolved conflicts they have in their life using the science of forgiveness so that they can live happier, healthier, good lives. Yeah, so today we are doing a session with Liz, who is in the UK. And let's see, I'm just like looking at my notes here. And Liz, hello, say hello.
Hi there.
Is it okay that we record this video and share it?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful, thank you. So yeah, we're going to be doing some EPT today. How did you hear about this, or have you watched any of these yet?
I haven't watched your webinar. I don't have a particularly relevant story to tell you about how I heard. I think I just came across you in Google one night, a few nights ago, in insomnia night, going, how do I help myself on Google? You know, what tools are out there? I'm not sleeping well, that kind of thing. You know. So,
Okay.
and you just somehow came up. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna work together and do EPT, and I'll explain kind of along the way what we're doing. It's a relatively small group in here today. So let's get started. What is it that brought you in here? What is it that you want to focus on?
I'd like to focus on a relationship pattern. I hope that's relevant.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah, okay. So a tendency to want to push people away versus cling on. But, you know, like I know that everyone has that a little bit, and there's nothing particularly unhealthy in it per se, but, you know, for me, it's really has affected my life and stuff. So
It's pushing people. Go ahead.
I was going to say, to put it positively, I would like, my goal would be to be able to feel really more comfortable and relaxed in relationships with people.
And just any relationship, friendships, romantic, whatever.
Well, romantic I'm talking about really, but
okay.
Friendship, you know, I mean, whatever. I don't want to narrow down the possible results.
Okay. I mean, I guess functionally they can operate differently depending on, I guess, whatever the patterns are from the past. So,
yeah.
All right. So pushing people away, and for you in your mind, you're thinking more on the romantic level.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just writing things down. So
Sure.
any of that dead space is going to be, and you'll see me kind of looking down. Yeah. So we can focus in on that. Just, you know, so you know, I don't know, did you read The Forgiveness Doctor?
Yes, I have. Yeah, that very night of insomnia. Yes, I read it all that night.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll help probably in some of this. I know some people have read it and then do EPT, and some people do EPT and then read it and they're like, oh, now I know what's going on. So hopefully this will make some amount of sense to you since it's relatively fresh in your mind.
Okay.
Or at least, you know. But usually for anyone who's a new person, you know, you can of course feel the effects of EPT soon after. But it's always recommended to do more because we're always learning, growing, and you never know what's going to happen in your life that's going to knock you down and you need help, basically. So just a caveat. Okay. All right. So what we do first is you can see me. So what you can do is well, I guess just put your hands because you don't have magnets. So in EPT we use magnets, but
yes.
You don't have them. So we'll just use your hands, but I'll have magnets. All right, so basically put your hands on your head like this, and we're gonna do 3 deep breaths. So breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And then you're gonna put one finger on the bridge of your nose and one finger on the back of your, well, it's like right at the base of your skull. and you're gonna do the same thing, kind of squeeze on the inhale and let release on the exhale. So breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. All right.
Okay.
And that is to just help build rapport. The magnets that we use are kind of like an acupuncture adjustment. I don't know how much you remember from the book, but they've got some energy, so we use those. All right, so think about we'll think about this pattern of pushing people away. All right.
Yeah.
All right. And how, on a scale of 1 to 10, so what I'm doing is I'm muscle testing over here. Have you ever been muscle tested before?
I have, yes.
Okay. So I'm doing muscle testing like this, basically with my hand, looking for a
Okay.
strong and weak response. So about where, on a scale of 1 to 10, about what's your distress level on this pushing people away?
Well, it's I don't want to go off the point, but it's really strange, but I had a massive clearing about half an hour before the session started. Is that a thing? Because I actually had a massive clearing of that, just like the tension in my chest around this issue just kind of just went whoosh, and my spine straightened, and I don't know. Anyway, so my distress level is a lot lower than it should.
Okay.
I mean, normally I'd be saying like 20 out of 10. It's like so painful, seriously, so painful. And I just had this incredible clearing. So I'd say it's more like a 4 now out of 10.
Okay. I tested and it's kind of a 7. What's interesting is right before this, I was actually I was having like a loving kindness meditation around just before this, really.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because it's very effective.
I actually thought of you. I was first like thinking of it, and then I was like, well, I have this appointment coming up, so I was thinking of you in that, like, whatever, this suffering and then giving you peace as well. Anyway, so you're welcome. So it's funny that you say that. Okay, so I'm testing about a 7, but I also have an elation on this at about a 6. So a 7 for me isn't always that high, and so I mean, you know, some people it's like they're off the charts with some of these things. So
And you said an elation.
yes, so there's an elation with this pattern. So what that means is, and this comes up sometimes, not all the time, it's that there's a little bit of I don't want to say like it's an elation. It's not necessarily an enjoyment, but you're getting something out of it. Maybe there's power, maybe there's control, maybe
control. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
so it's so that helps me so that I know how to form the statement. So usually elation might be associated with addiction. So you want to lower the elation on when you smoke a cigarette so that you don't want to smoke the cigarette. So it's the same idea. We want to lower the elation on you pushing people away so that, you know, you can have people in your life, because that's not what you want. And then I test for stage of healing.
Yeah. I would say that some of the most joyful moments of my life have been when I've left people. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Or when I've left a job or whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then stage of healing, I'm testing a 2, so anger. So we have it's Barbara Brennan, but also it's like the stages of grief. So 1, 2,
Okay.
they go up: denial, anger, bargain, depression. So anger is where we're at.
Yeah, a lot of anger around.
Okay. And the idea is with the stages of healing in EPT is that you're not just like stuck in anger all the time. It depends on different places in your life. You know, you could be in light emerging in your business, but then be in denial in your relationships. So,
Sure.
And then so I also test to see what might be blocking healing. And this is again to help me develop statements. And letting go is weak. So I think that kind of fits what we're doing. What's funny about it is it's like you're pushing people away. So in a sense, you're letting go, but It's
Not really.
but not really, yeah. But the maybe the motivation or the intention behind it isn't out of love for yourself. It's something else. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. And next, what I'm testing is the who, what, when, where. We have, let's see. So let me do it, and then I'll show you the charts. Let's see. So, just testing. So it's the current issue. So I test for a current issue and a past issue if it's relevant. And this first issue is anger. So I feel it's your anger. So it's not, at least in the current situation. I feel my anger with somebody else. Is there someone else that you would be angry at with regard to this focus?
It may be, I feel sort of a generic anger, really, but sort of hostility to the world. Yeah. So, but you know, it's focused on my partner. It's yeah, at the moment.
Okay, so I mean, family is what I'm testing. So is it
Yes,
so your
I
partner?
mean, yeah, there's family. I mean, obviously yeah, I'm going to say obviously my mother. Obviously, I'm furious with my mother. I took that for granted, you know.
Okay, so my anger with my partner because what's that? You fill in the blank, or
What came was I feel taken advantage of or something.
like they're using me.
In the past, in the beginning of our relationship. But I don't know. I mean, to be honest, now I don't know what it is. I don't know what the anger is.
But in the past, it would be they're using me. Okay.
Well, taking advantage of me. I mean, if they're using me, not they're using me. No, that doesn't feel right.
Okay.
But they're taking advantage. Taking
Okay.
advantage.
Like they're taking advantage of.
They're taking more than they're giving.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see. Okay, I gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I don't get the sense that it's like that they take more than they give. It's not that they don't give enough; they just take too much.
Okay.
And okay, we'll stick with that since it's working.
Yep.
All right, so now we're gonna test for an original. Okay. Okay, so what's coming up, and not knowing anything about you, is I felt my dad's anger at me. Yep. When I'm 9.
Yeah.
Is there I mean, it could just be, I don't know if there were a lot of kids in your house, or if he thought you were taking more than you should. I don't know. What is there a story there, or? 9 years old, at least in the States, that would be like 4th grade, 3rd, maybe 4th.
Yeah. I mean, my dad died when I was 11, so I don't really remember. I don't have a lot of detail about him. When I was 9, he didn't ever demonstrate anger towards me. He had some emotional issues. He smoked 60 cigarettes a day, and he drank a little too much, and he had custody of me in my parents' divorce, so I lived mostly with him. He wasn't an alcoholic running around the house alcoholic, but he drank too much.
Okay.
But in terms of anger with me, if he wouldn't have shown it. He wouldn't have been
No.
able to show any emotion at all.
And was it just you in the house, or were there other people
There was
at the time?
there was a housekeeper. My brother was at boarding school at that time,
Okay.
so he'd have been coming back for the holidays, but not
And
mostly.
he was older. Okay,
He's
so
7 years older.
and
He was
so
very angry with me. I mean, if you've gone to dad because it's like a senior figure, then I don't know. It might have been my brother. He was very angry.
he was angry with you when you were 9?
Well, I was at home and he was away, of course. Yeah.
Oh. And did you at some point go to boarding school too?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Straight after my dad died at 11, I went the next day.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was he sick at this time, or just
No, he
unhealthy?
wasn't sick. No, he wasn't sick.
Just unhealthy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just unhealthy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did he like you and your brother, or did you have a sense that he liked you guys?
It was hard to tell. It was
Okay.
hard to tell. I mean, people used to say, tell me, oh, he adores you. He adores you. But like, oh my gosh, you're the only woman he can be around, or you're the only female he can be around. And of course he must have adored you to keep you, to have you, to take custody of you, blah blah blah. But actually, he just was so unable to show his affection that much. I used to throw myself at him, and be clinging onto him.
Well, and so it sounds, even with anger and also joy, he was kind of just emotionally stunted a little bit.
Yeah. He had a very traumatic childhood.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, kind of simply, it's just feeling this. And while your dad probably didn't express it, there may have been this sense like, my kids take too much from me. It's funny because you said my anger with partner, they take too much. And I think it's like he feels, I don't know if is there also a sense of like, not like no gratitude? Is that another thing that you feel with your partner? Okay.
Yes, very much so, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, and I'm wondering if
when I say the other aspect of this page, just in case it's helpful, is taking too much. It feels like it's like a personal kind of violation as well, like taking too much of my freedom, taking too much of my my space, that kind of thing. I think is probably more to the point.
Okay. All right, that's helpful. And that, again, like that's kind of what I'm thinking is going on with your dad, but like it would be very like internal. I mean, some dads who might feel this way might be very external about it, but he wouldn't be, because he's going to take care of you no matter what, even if he feels like he doesn't like it,
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Or his life might be easier without it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So yeah. All right. So go ahead and put a hand on your liver, which is your right side around your rib cage.
Could you stand up so I can see?
Sure. So it's like
okay,
right there.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then one hand on your forehead.
Uh-huh.
All right, and then we're gonna breathe 3 times, and we're thinking about your dad's anger at you when you're 9. So breathe in.
Yeah.
Breathe in.
Yeah.
Breathe in.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna see if there's anything else. All right, yep. Okay. Seeing if there's any other emotions, hearts.
Oh, do you know, actually, I think it was possibly around then that he was working in Hong Kong a little bit, and he may have felt a bit resentful that he had to come home. He would go for 3 weeks and come back. Possibly
And
it was around that time.
And would you go with him?
Only once. Only
Oh,
once.
okay. So you would be home with like a nanny?
Yeah.
Well, before you even said that, I was like, okay, also there's um your feeling of abandonment. So
Yes,
I was like,
absolutely.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, okay. And would it so I feel abandoned because dad went to, so when you were 9, he would go to Hong Kong for some amount of time and come back.
I think so, yes.
And
Though I don't, I mean, the abandonment, you know, like my mum left at 4,
mm-hmm.
but I did see her every week. And dad would go, you know, he went away, or he would go out for the evening, and I wouldn't really know when he was coming back, and I'd wait at the window waiting to hear the taxi. There was a time when he went to Hong Kong and he set a date he was coming back and he didn't, and every night I would just wait at the window waiting for him to come back. And it would be raining in London, and you know, all of that. I remember the view from the window. He
Yeah.
came back like 4 days later or something, and he said,
Oh, wow.
mm.
Okay, so um well, I'm just testing to see why you would feel abandoned, but I'm also like filling in the blank, maybe like feeling like maybe he won't come back.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
Um,
Or I'm not powerful enough to bring him back.
um, I feel abandoned. Well, yeah, and also like I feel abandoned because he left and then didn't come back when he said he would.
Yeah, 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 I did.
Um, okay, so hand on your heart, and then another hand on your forehead, and just thinking about this feeling of abandonment, because he didn't come back when he said he would.
Uh-huh.
So breathe in,
Yeah.
breathe in,
Yeah.
breathe in.
Yeah.
All right. And you're probably going, why isn't it mom abandonment issues? But it almost sounds like, I mean, your dad was the one who took responsibility, I guess.
Yes, yes.
And so you expect him to actually like be there for you. Whereas your mom, you probably were like, like you were like, come on.
Yeah, well, mum was there on the day she was meant to be there. Yeah,
Oh, good. That's
yeah,
good.
very much so. Yeah,
Was she more consistent that way or?
yeah, yeah. I'm much more emotionally available and all of that.
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Um, okay. Okay, so we're gonna do forgiveness statements now. So,
Okay.
okay. So I also checked to test and see if there was trauma. Okay, so it's just I'm testing if it was physical or emotional. Emotional mostly. So unless, I don't know if you can think of an injury from 9, but you don't have to. But it's just to give you some options for positioning while we say statements and breathe together.
Okay.
So for trauma, there's fight or flight mode and freeze mode. And the one that I have for this picture is more of a freeze mode than a fight or flight mode. So a little bit more on autopilot, just trying to get through without too much anxiety.
Yes.
But a lot of people kind of go back and forth between the fight or flight mode and the freeze mode. And that comes from Bessel van der Kolk. The body keeps the score. So
yeah.
So to kind of keep your brain awake, you can tap these are ways positions you can have while you're doing statements. You can tap the top of your head.
Okay.
Like this. You can hold fear release points, which are just like right under the collarbone, and rub those. So if you get tired of tapping your head, you can do that.
Okay.
And yeah, that should do. And if you had magnets, you can hold them. But
right.
You don't have those. So.
Can I do both? Can I head tap with one hand and collarbones with the other? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and you could do that. You could kind of tap around.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Yeah. Do you remember being mad at your dad, or like? Okay.
Not really. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I don't. I certainly don't. I think I
More
wouldn't have
just
known
bad.
it. I wouldn't have acknowledged it or known it. It wouldn't have felt very safe to know that at all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it seems more kind of sad, or almost like a little bit of a, just kind of like a give up. But I mean, I try to think of like, what are 9-year-olds like, you know?
Yeah.
You know, they have their moments, of course. So all kids are emotional, as far as I can tell, usually at one point or another during the day. Okay.
I don't think I was. I don't think I could show it, is what I mean.
Okay. And so it was just your older brother. How old was your older brother?
7 years older.
Okay. And then was there anyone younger, or no?
No.
Okay. Did your parents have any other kids?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're gonna do the statements now. So some of the testing that I did, you can see it in the background. There's my like chart here, but here's the full chart. And you probably saw it in the Forgiveness Doctor book. This is an acupuncture chart with how the emotions line up in the organs. So that's why we do the hands and the breathing and the magnets. And then, yeah, and you also in the Forgiveness Doctor is like the flow chart for testing who, what, when, where, and why. So that's what I use to get all of that information. So.
Okay, cool.
All right, and now to do forgiveness, what I don't think is in the Forgiveness Doctor book, because this came out I think after it, is this little forgiveness card. So it's the foundational forgiveness statements, which I follow, but I also do some improv as well. So, all right, so let's get going.
Okay.
So just repeat after me, and then we will breathe together. All right, so I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
I have to hold onto my dad's anger with me.
I have to hold on to my dad's anger with me.
When I'm 9.
When I was 9, and I'm now.
Because I needed more than he could give.
Because I needed more than he could give.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
That this anger my dad had.
That this anger my dad had.
will always be true in my life.
Will always be true in my life.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
Forgive myself for believing.
I have to hold on to my dad's anger
I have to hold on to my dad's anger
when I'm 9,
when I'm 9,
so he doesn't have to feel it
so he doesn't have to feel it
and will come back.
and will come back.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
I have to feel abandoned when I'm 9
I have to feel abandoned when I'm 9
because my dad didn't come back when he said.
because my dad didn't come back when he said.
And breathe. I forgive my 9-year-old self
I forgive my 9-year-old self
for not. I forgive my 9-year-old self for not knowing. For not
for not
knowing.
knowing.
Well, let me think. I forgive my 9-year-old. I forgive my 9-year-old self
I forgive my 9-year-old self
for believing
for believing
that her dad's anger
that her dad's anger
and feeling of abandonment
and feeling of abandonment
was her fault
was her fault
because she needed.
Yeah, because she needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and breathe. I forgive myself.
I forgive myself
For every time.
for every time
When I hurt someone's feelings.
when I hurt someone's feelings
With my anger.
with my anger.
Because they need too much or need more than I can give.
Because they need more than I can give.
And breathe. I forgive my dad.
I forgive my dad.
For not knowing how to be emotionally available.
For not knowing how to be emotionally available.
With a 9-year-old.
With a 9-year-old.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
My dad has to change.
My dad has to change.
Before I can let go.
Before I can let go.
And love and care for myself.
And love and care for myself.
As an adult.
As an adult.
And breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
I have to be reminded of my dad's anger.
I have to be reminded of my dad's anger.
When I'm 9.
When I'm 9.
When someone else needs something from me.
That's good. When someone else needs something from me.
Now.
Yeah. Now. Yeah.
And breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
I have to be reminded of the abandonment I felt.
I have to be reminded of the abandonment I felt.
When I needed someone and they weren't there.
When I needed someone and they weren't there.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
I can only feel safe, secure, and complete.
I can only feel safe, secure, and complete.
When my dad's here.
When my dad's here.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
I can only feel. Oh, I know. Wait, I forget. Sorry. I forgive myself for believing. If I feel.
I forgive myself for believing that if I feel.
safe, secure, and complete.
Safe, secure, and complete.
Love, forgiveness, and happiness.
Love, forgiveness, and happiness.
Then then the other person won't come back
Then the other person won't come back
because I won't have needed them.
because I won't have needed them.
Yeah, breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
I have to push people away
I have to push people away
before they just don't show up,
before they just don't show up,
or before they take too much.
or before they take too much.
Yeah, I'm breathe. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for anything I did that caused this
for anything I did that caused this
anger or abandoned feeling.
anger or abandoned feeling.
I'm breathe. I forgive my 9-year-old self
I forgive my 9-year-old self
for holding on to abandonment
for holding on to abandonment
and anger
and anger
to remind herself
to remind herself
of the relationship with her dad
of the relationship with her dad
and to bring him here.
and to bring him here.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that abandoned people
that abandoned people
are too needy.
are too needy.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for when I took too much
for when I took too much
without gratitude.
without gratitude.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive my dad
I forgive my dad
for being angry
for being angry
when I didn't know how to show gratitude when I was 9.
when I didn't know how to show gratitude when I was 9.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
my dad just took care of me because he had to,
my dad just took care of me because he had to,
not because he wanted to.
not because he wanted to.
And breathe. I forgive my dad
I forgive my dad
for not always telling the truth.
for not always telling the truth.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive my 9-year-old self
I forgive my 9-year-old self
for believing
for believing
she didn't really need anyone to take care of her.
she didn't really need anyone to take care of her.
Yeah, and breathe. I give myself permission
I give myself permission
to let my 9-year-old self be 9.
to let my 9-year-old self be 9,
Needing love and attention,
needing love and attention,
like any child needs.
like any child needs.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive my 9-year-old self
I forgive my 9-year-old self
for, I want to say, for faking confidence
for faking confidence
when her parents weren't there
when her parents weren't there
and she really wanted them there.
And she really wanted them there.
And breathe. I love and accept myself,
I love and accept myself,
even when I'm afraid.
even when I'm afraid.
The people I love won't be there.
Oh, so I love and accept myself even when I'm afraid that the people I love won't be there
When I need them
when I need them
or want them.
or want them.
Yeah, and breathe. I love and accept myself even when I'm afraid.
I love and accept myself even when I'm afraid.
It's even when I'm afraid, it's better to feel confident and powerful alone.
It's better to feel confident and powerful alone
than being disappointed by someone.
Than being disappointed by somebody.
Yeah, that you love.
That you love, that I love.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are
you just intuiting all these now?
Oh, yeah.
Or are you reading from the list?
It's a combo.
Right. Okay.
The list has some prompts, and I just kind of plug in my notes. So
yeah.
I give my dad permission.
I give my dad permission
to forgive me.
To forgive me.
For blaming him.
For blaming him.
When I felt anger.
When I felt angry.
Or abandoned.
Or abandoned.
And because he didn't come back when he said.
Because he didn't come back when he said.
Yeah, and breathe. I want to say I forgive my dad.
I forgive my dad.
For the lost time that I wanted us to have.
For the lost time that I wanted us to have.
Yeah, great. I give myself permission.
I give myself permission.
To let go of the past or present.
To let go of the past or present.
Or the past or future, I guess.
That never existed. That never existed.
Where I had more time.
Where I had more time.
More time with my dad and more and was able to express my gratitude to him.
Okay, so that's I give myself permission
to let go of the past or future.
The past or future where
that
I
didn't
did
exist, or wait,
where didn't exist, where that didn't exist,
where
I might have had more time with my dad.
Or he might have changed or been different,
it's good,
yeah, and breathe. Let's see here. I give myself permission.
I give myself permission.
To let go of my dad's anger.
To let go of my dad's anger.
When it's like when he doesn't perceive equality of or balance of giving and receiving.
When he doesn't perceive equality or balance in giving and receiving.
And breathe. I love and accept myself,
I love and accept myself,
even when I'm afraid.
even when I'm afraid.
People that I love
Of people that I love,
are going to take too much.
that people that I love are going to take too much.
Take too much of my freedom or my space.
Too much of my freedom, my space, myself.
And not even mention it.
And not even say thank you or mention it.
Yeah, and breathe. How about without this anger?
Without this anger,
I am free
I am free
to feel safe, secure, and complete.
to feel safe, secure, and complete.
When others take and aren't grateful.
When others take and are not grateful.
Yeah, I'm brave.
Yeah.
Without my dad's anger, I am free.
Without my dad's anger, I am free
To know
to know
that my 9-year-old self was never taking too much.
that my 9-year-old self never took too much.
I was just being 9.
I was just being 9.
And wanting and needing my parents.
And wanting and needing my parents.
And breathe. Without this pattern, I am free.
Without this pattern, I am free.
To feel love, forgiveness, and happiness.
To feel love, forgiveness, and happiness.
Even when my dad's angry.
Even when my dad is angry.
Or isn't able to show it.
Or is not able to show it.
Yeah, and breathe. Without this pattern, I am free.
Without this pattern, I'm free.
To show up for people.
To show up for people.
Because I love them.
Because I love them.
And not out of obligation.
And not out of obligation.
Yeah, and breathe. Without this pattern, I am free.
Without this pattern, I'm free.
To have relationships in my life.
To have relationships in my life.
Where I'm like, what is it? Where there's gratitude.
Where there's gratitude.
And freedom and space enough for everyone.
And freedom and space enough for everyone.
And breathe. Without this pattern, my dad is free.
Without this pattern, my dad is free.
And was always free.
And was always free.
To have whatever freedom and space he wanted.
To have whatever freedom and space that he wanted.
Yeah, and breathe. Without this pattern, I am free.
Without this pattern, I am free.
To feel safe, secure, and complete.
To feel safe, secure, and complete.
Even when others push me away.
Even when others push me away.
Or, yeah, and breathe. Without this pattern, I am free.
Without this pattern, I am free.
To feel joy.
To feel joy.
And confident.
And confidence.
I want to say in my power to in my power to relinquish space.
And in my power to relinquish my space.
Yeah, without being I want to say like sucked of all my energy.
Without being sucked of all my energy yet.
Like a 9-year-old without her parents.
Like a 9-year-old without her parents.
Needing to generate all of her own sort of everything.
Needing to generate her own everything.
Yeah, I'm free. Without this pattern, I am free
Without this pattern, I am free.
to feel grateful
To feel grateful.
for the for the independence
For the independence.
and I've had.
I've had. Yeah.
To feel more grateful for the independence I had instead of the deficit of parental affection.
Yeah. So without this pattern, I'm free to feel
Be
more
grateful.
grateful for the independence that I've had, rather than feeling the unmet needs.
Yeah, rather than the unmet needs and just that deficit of
Parental attention.
okay, breathe. I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Even when I'm afraid.
Even when I'm afraid.
I can only feel safe, secure, and complete.
I can only feel safe, secure, and complete.
Love, forgiveness, and happiness.
Love, forgiveness, and happiness.
Away from the people that I love.
Away from the people that I love.
Because that's how it was when I was 9.
Because that's how it was when I was 9.
That's how I had to feel when I was 9 to survive.
Well, that's how I had to feel to survive at 9.
Yeah, I'm brave. Without this abandonment, I am free.
Without this abandonment, I'm free
to forgive my dad.
To forgive my dad.
When he wasn't there.
When he wasn't there.
And be a better person for the people I love.
And be a better person for the people I love.
When we are both present with each other.
When we're both present with each other.
Yeah, and breathe. Without this pattern, I am free.
Without this pattern, I'm free.
To love myself more.
To love myself more?
Yeah, and be present with people.
And be present with people?
Instead of, I guess, instead of worrying about if they'll be there always.
Yeah, so free to be present with people instead of worrying about whether they'll always be there.
Yeah, breathe. How are you feeling?
Feel quite sleepy.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah, I feel sleepy. I feel okay. I feel okay.
Okay. Let's see. I was wondering sort of what other things you might want to bring in. So, like, without this pattern.
Something about control. Something about letting go. Not needing to be the one in control.
Okay.
Something like
that. Okay. Without this. Okay. Without this anger and abandonment.
Without this anger and abandonment.
I am free.
I am free.
To let go of being in control.
I am free to let go of being in control.
When I'm 9.
When I'm 9.
Because it was never my job.
Because it wasn't my job.
Yeah, and breathe. Without my dad's anger, I am free
Without my dad's anger, I am free
to let go of controlling my emotions
to let go of controlling my emotions
to the point of pushing others away.
to the point of pushing others away.
Yeah, and breathe. Without this pattern, I am free
Without this pattern, I'm free
to, or how about I love and accept myself,
I love and accept myself,
even when I'm afraid.
even when I'm afraid.
I will lose control
I
when
will
I'm
lose
9
control when I'm 9
and take too much.
and take too much.
Yeah, and breathe. I love and accept myself,
I love and accept myself,
even when I'm afraid.
even when I'm afraid.
Um, I'll push people away,
I'll push people away,
trying to control
trying to control
the space and freedom that we have together.
the space and freedom that we have together. Yeah.
Without this pattern, I am free
Without this pattern, I'm free
to know
to know
and to trust,
and to trust.
even though my heart hurt when I was 9.
Even though my heart hurt when I was 9,
My dad came back
my dad came back
and I was okay.
and I was okay.
Yeah, and breathe. I give myself permission
I give myself permission
to it's like I give my 9-year-old self permission
I give my 9-year-old self permission
to know I know
to
the
know
future. I know the future.
to know that I know the future, or
Yeah.
to know that.
Yeah. And my dad comes back.
Oh, I see. I know
Yeah.
her future. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I give my 9-year-old permission
Yeah.
to know that I know her future and what happened.
Yeah,
And that her dad came back.
and it's and that it's okay to feel,
and that it's okay to feel,
and it's okay to need.
and it's okay to need.
Yeah, and breathe.
Okay.
I
think I'm going to have to close their page because it's
okay.
time up.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
No problem.
Am I right that it was an hour's call?
Yes, it's an hour.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So reach out if you have any other questions or if you need anything.
I really appreciate it. What a special gift. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We'll keep doing these if you want to watch them.
Yeah. So you keep me on the list, the email list.
Of course. Let me stop the recording. All right.